Okay, I'm just gonna get right into this one. The Five Nights at Freddy's movie. This is a movie we've been waiting for almost 9 years now, and it finally released. And it came out on October 27th for at least United States, the 25th for the United Kingdom. The stupid British. Anyways, I watched it on the 26th of October, and to be completely honest, I loved it. I genuinely really enjoyed my experience with it. And although I was early, the theater wasn't entirely filled up, but it was still nice getting to watch my one of my most favorite franchises just on the big screen. And for what it was, and contrary to what everyone else is saying, I really had a great time with this movie, and it was honestly everything it could be. Like, there's obviously some things that are just not what I expected. The whole movie was definitely like a surprise to me, just the way they took it and the characters and everything, but it was not bad. None of this was bad, but it was just different, and I liked it. I really liked where they went with this, and I've already seen it multiple times by now. I find it to be really rewatchable, and you have a good experience with it every single time, and the acting is genuinely so well done. For the Fritz, the security guard at the beginning, his name is Fritz. His acting really just put me into the movie like immediately. Like, I was honestly floored to see like such immense fear coming from this random character just as he walks through the vents and stuff. And it gets you into it. You actually wonder, especially for newer people, like, what is even going on. And then when he dies and you like see the title sequence is amazing. I did not expect it. I heard from a VHS animator called Valix that there would be a title sequence, but I didn't think it would be so cool. It was literally a mini game. It was literally one of those mini games that would be in the FNAF 2 and FNAF 3, and it would show how William Afton, the purple guy in the Spring Bonnie suit, killed all the 5 children, and it sets up the story for you, and that's such a smart decision, honestly, and it's great, and I really did love the movie. However, I can see why people would not like it and why people would have a hard time following what's going on. But at the end of the day, that's just how Five Nights at Freddy's is. The whole story is so convoluted. A bunch of the main premises are built off of theories, and it's just hard to follow. But that's, as a FNAF fan, something that I'm happy with because it's normal to me at this point and for all others. And for critics just as well, they're not going to understand that. They're not going to understand that this is a movie for the fans. And of course, they're just going to see it trying to expect something revolutionary in cinema history, and they're just going to be seeing Bonnie falling down. Like, obviously, no one's going to really want to care about that. But for us, or at least for me personally, I love that, especially that scene. I honestly really like that scene. It really shows how the kids and the animatronics are still kids, and it's silly, it's goofy, it's not necessarily horror in a horror film, but I think it was needed, and it really shows their personalities, and that's just really cool to me. I really liked it. Although understandably, of course, this movie was a PG-13 film because the fan base is mostly children, I feel like this movie could have done a little better if it was pushed to R, because if it showed more like gory scenes, I feel like it honestly would have been more frightening, or at least more terrifying, and show off how the animatronics are like, frightening. But for what we did get, I think they did a really good job at like pushing that boundary, because witnessing Freddy Fazbear just bite someone in half is something I didn't know I needed, and it was honestly cool, because me personally, I didn't even expect them to go there. I didn't expect them to do or have much of any gore unless it had to do with a spring lock scene. And I didn't even think they would have a spring lock scene, but they did. And I could see how they sacrificed making the spring lock scene gory for the bite that Freddy did. with Max. But at the same time, they went with a more realistic route with the Springlock scene, and I really appreciate that. There's no doubt that Scott had a hand in like crafting that whole scene and like supervising it. So there's no way that that played out in a way he didn't like. That's how Scott imagined it. That's how Scott Cawthon wanted it to be, and you have to respect it for that, especially since it is realistic. If you're gonna be impaled, you're not gonna just start screaming and bleeding all over the place. It's gonna be more painful and genuinely like you're fighting for your life. And I think Lillard did an amazing job at encapsulating that, and his will to still be alive through his egotisticalness and just William Aftonness. And that iconic line, "I always come back," was just wow to hear in a movie theater.
I always come back.
You can tell the moment he put his Spring Bonnie mask back on that he became Springtrap at that moment. And just seeing him be just dragged away and then put in the safe room, it's just you want more. You want to see more, and you want to see what happens. And it's just so good. It's just so well done. I just love it so much. And again, I can see why people wouldn't. I can even see why people would say it's not good. But shit like having it like be a 2 or out of 10 experience because Freddy Fazbear didn't show his fastballs or something, like, nobody cares. Like, nobody cares about what you have to say. Like, yeah, if you're gonna give it, like, actual criticism, then okay, yeah, I understand. But if you're just gonna be like, nah, it was horrible. It wasn't enough horror for me. Like, shut up. Nobody cares. But yeah, overall, I would give it like a 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5 out of 10. That's just like as a movie of itself. It was like an 8.5 out of 10 type of movie. But as a FNAF fan, honestly, 9.9 out of 10. And the reason why it's not a 10 out of 10 is because Freddy didn't do the power out thing. Like, I feel like that should have been a thing he did. I was honestly really surprised when I looked back on my experience to say, like, he didn't even do the Toreador March thing. Like, I don't know why they would not do that. Maybe they couldn't, or maybe they're gonna do it in like a future film. But I just feel like with all the trailers having that same song, it's just surprising to not have it. I mean, I still, don't get me wrong, that doesn't change or make the movie worse for me. But that's just, I don't know, I just feel like that's something that they could have done that I'm surprised they just missed. But overall, amazing movie. Genuinely an amazing movie, and I'm really happy with it. And I mean, it was just almost everything I could have wanted. It was practically perfect. It really was. And I mean, yeah, it was everything. And I'm really glad to have witnessed it, especially in a theater and multiple times on Peacock when it came out. So, I mean, yeah. Bye, I guess.